Welcome back to the Patronus Pages. In today's episode, we delve into the intriguing world of Severus Snape, also known as the Half-Blood Prince. Our story begins in Professor Slughorn's potions class, where Harry Potter finds himself without a textbook. Directed by Slughorn to locate a spare, Harry stumbles upon a copy of Advanced Potion Making, a discovery that would significantly impact his academic year. Little did Harry know that this particular book held the key to becoming one of Slughorn's favourites. To gain Slughorn's favour, Harry needed to excel in his potions class, and this annotated textbook allowed him to do just that. Upon opening the book, Harry notices an inscription. This book is the property of the Half-Blood Prince. Throughout the school year, Harry relies on the book for clearer, more straightforward instructions than those provided in class. This textbook served almost like a cheat sheet for his potion lessons. However, the book contained more than just potions advice. It also included spells unknown to Harry. Sectumsempra is arguably the most infamous spell created by Severus Snape and was written right in Harry's copy of Advanced Potion Making. Uncertain of the spell's effects, Harry uses Sectumsempra on Draco Malfoy. A grave error. Sectumsempra is not the only spell attributed to Snape. In this episode, we will examine each spell that Snape invented. Spell creation is a perilous and complex endeavour, mastered by only a few witches and wizards with exceptional patience and profound magical knowledge. By any measure, Snape's success in this field is remarkable. Let's begin with the well-known Sectumsempra. The spell's name derives from the Latin words sectus, having been cut, and semper, always. Sectumsempra is a dark curse that functions like an invisible sword, causing deep lacerations and severe blood loss. It is a testament to Snape's expertise in dark magic and is prominently featured in his annotated textbook. Harry first employs Sectumsempra against Malfoy, later attempting to use it against Snape himself. Snape's reaction, "You dare use my own spells against me, Potter?" reveals his deep familiarity with the spell, making Harry's attempt futile. The spell's devastating effects are vividly described in the following passage. Blood spurted from Malfoy's face and chest as though slashed by an invisible sword. He staggered backward and collapsed onto the waterlogged floor with a great splash, his wand falling from his limp right hand. Slipping and staggering, Harry got to his feet and pounced toward Malfoy, whose face was now shining scarlet, his white hands scrambling at his blood-soaked chest. During the Battle of the Seven Potters, Snape mistakenly uses the curse while aiming for a Death Eater's hand, instead severing George Weasley's ear. This incident is explained in the following exchange between Remus and Hermione. "He lost an ear," said Lupin. "Lost an ear?" said Hermione. "Snape's work," replied Lupin. The ear could not be reattached due to the nature of cursed wounds, and the counter-curse was unknown to the Order of the Phoenix at the time. Next, we discuss Vulnera sanentur, the counter-curse for Sectumsempra, derived from the Latin vulnus, which means wound, and sanere, which means to heal. Vulnera sanentur is the only known remedy for Sectumsempra's effects. The incantation must be repeated 3 times to fully heal the wounds. The first utterance stops the bleeding, the second initiates healing, and the third completes the process. To prevent scarring, dittany, a magical plant, should also be used. The spell's use is detailed in the following passage. He knelt over Malfoy, drew his wand, and traced it over the deep wounds Harry's curse had made, muttering an incantation that sounded almost like a song. The flow of blood seemed to ease. Snape wiped the residue from Malfoy's face and repeated his spell. Now the wounds seemed to be knitting. Another significant spell created by Snape is Levicorpus, from the Latin levare, which means lift, and corpus, which means body. The spell literally means lift body. Though its creation date is uncertain, the Marauders were familiar with it during their school years. Snape intended for the spell to be cast non-verbally, though it can also be spoken aloud. The spell's effect is described here. Pointing his wand at nothing in particular, he gave it an upward flick and said, "Levicorpus," inside his head. There was a flash of light. Ron was dangling upside down in mid-air, as though an invisible hook had hoisted him up by the ankle. Libra corpus, the counterspell to Levicorpus, is derived from the Latin words liberare, which means to free, and corpus, which means body, meaning free the body. James Potter famously used Levicorpus against Snape, then released him with Libra Corpus at Lily's behest. This scene is captured in the following excerpt. He jerked his wand upwards. Snape fell into a crumpled heap on the ground. Now on to the Muffliato Charm, another of Snape's inventions, which is less malevolent. It fills nearby ears with a buzzing sound, allowing private conversations without eavesdropping. Introduced between 1971 and 1978, the charm was taught by Flitwick in the 1988-1989 school year. Its practical use is described as follows. Perhaps most useful of all, Muffliato, a spell that filled the ears of anyone nearby with an unidentifiable buzzing so that lengthy conversations could be held in class without being overheard. Langlock is another practical spell created by Snape. The term lang is rooted in tongue, or language, and lock means to lock. This spell glues the victim's tongue to the roof of their mouth, effectively silencing them. It is useful in dueling, preventing the opponent from casting spells. Harry uses Langlock on Peeves, as illustrated here. Harry aimed his wand at Peeves and said Langlock. Peeves clutched at his throat, gulped, then swooped from the room making obscene gestures but unable to speak owing to the fact that his tongue had just glued itself to the roof of his mouth. Lastly, we have the Toenail Growing Hex, an innocuous spell that causes rapid toenail growth. Harry experimented with this hex, using it on Vincent Crabbe, resulting in amusing effects. The spell's discovery is noted in this passage. Harry had already attempted a few of the prince's self-invented spells. There had been a hex that caused toenails to grow alarmingly fast. Creating spells is a formidable challenge, making Snape's achievements all the more impressive. Many of his spells are widely used, though their origins remain obscure to most. Snape's contributions to magical innovation demonstrate his profound skill and potential. Had he survived the Wizarding War, Snape might have rivaled the power of Dumbledore and Voldemort. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Severus Snape's spell creations. If you enjoyed this content, please like the video and subscribe. As always, leave your suggestions for future topics in the comments below.